Hello, everybody. Good Monday, early afternoon to you. Thanks for joining me here for my Monday segment, Mondays with Mike. Today, a little bit of a serious topic, not a little bit, a very serious topic, actually, and that is safety regarding water. So, there are two things that I want to talk about. One is what happened again over in San Luis Pass this weekend. And the other is what happened early this morning up in Dallas and in Fort Worth. So overnight, we had this complex of storms that formed up here in North Texas, around to the south of Wichita Falls. And that moved across to Dallas. And Dallas was the first place to get hit. And it was like 2 or 3 o'clock this morning. We ended up getting, in all, about 7 inches of rain. In fact, the radar estimates were between about 6 and 8 inches, but I did see some actual, what you would call ground truth. We had some rain gauges there in Dallas County that measured 7 inches of rain. And that was right in downtown Dallas. And so this is the type of scenario that we've seen happen here in Houston too many times, right? Where you get this incredible flooding, and a lot of times it happens at night. And there were people, we're getting still, the video's still coming in, and hopefully there weren't any casualties or any serious injuries, but there's video coming from all over the place of people with the water up to the roof of their car. Now, hopefully they were able to escape the vehicle before that happened. And the advice is always, if that happens, I know that people are kind of shocked when that happens, but you do have to make sure that you can exit the car somehow, because if you stay in the car and if the water continues to rise, then that's one way you can drown. It's a tough decision to make. The best thing to do is to not end up in that situation to begin with. But what happens at night is that people are driving innocently and don't know that they're coming up upon a dip in the road. It might be an underpass. It might be an area that's just prone to flooding otherwise. But a lot of times, like in our area, there's the underpass that goes, like Allen Parkway goes under by downtown. That used to flood really bad. Now, some of this stuff has been fixed, but the bottom line is there are places where you will see a gauge, on the side of the road where it tells you, 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, so that as you're driving, you can actually, it reminds you, oh my gosh, there's 5 feet of water, I can't drive in there. But at night, people may not see that, or maybe there isn't a gauge there, and that's what happened in Dallas early this morning. People just drove right into it. And like I said, we're still trying to determine here at this hour, hopefully there weren't any serious injuries. And then after it moved through Dallas, there was another swirl that formed behind it that hit Fort Worth, which is just on the the west side of the Metroplex. And you could see how what happened was we had these training thunderstorms. We would call them training because it's just like if you had railroad tracks set up and you have these cars of the railroad, just same location. Here's another storm, another storm, another storm, another storm with a little gap in between. So that's what they've had throughout this Monday morning here, all up in the Dallas area. And by the way, all along this I-20 corridor back over to Tyler, Texas as well. So all these areas are really at risk throughout the day today for experiencing some very serious flooding. The rainfall amounts already, and this may actually be a little conservative, is that we've had, look at the 7.7 inches of rain around Dallas, and around Fort Worth, at least half a foot of rain just falling this morning. So it is very reminiscent of what we see around here. And what's really interesting is that they went 2 straight months in Dallas-Fort Worth, at least at DFW Airport, no measurable rain. I don't remember if it was 57 days, 58 days, but it was just about 2 solid months. No rain at all. And then this is what you call the reversion to the mean. Eventually it all evens out. And unfortunately, sometimes it comes at a cost of, safety and damage to property and hopefully not lives lost. But unfortunately, that is the situation up in North Texas for the day today as that flooding continues. And so, the question is it coming to Houston? And I think so. Maybe not this exact part of the system, because you can see these little swirls along it. So we call those short waves in the jet stream. It's just like a ripple. And that's what helps to generate these areas of low pressure. The whole system itself, though, is likely to sink to the south and sort of form as a stationary front off to the north of Houston. And so we have rain at a chance for some scattered downpours today, and then a better chance for storms heading into this evening and tonight. Okay, so depending on when you watch this, Monday evening into Tuesday, which would be the 22nd and 23rd of August. And then all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday, probably all day Thursday, we're looking for at least the chance for more heavy downpours right here in Houston. And yes, we need the rain, and as long as it comes down steadily, it's fine. If we get 2 or 3 inches of rain in a day, that's usually not a problem. But it's when you get 2 or 3 inches of rain in 1 hour that it becomes a problem, mostly a hazard on the highways. And so it's going to be an interesting day, an interesting week ahead across the state of Texas. All right, now switching gears, I want to talk about something that happened over the weekend. There was a family who was spending some time at near San Luis Pass, which, if you're not familiar, this is Galveston Island. Galveston is a thin barrier island. So by barrier island, I mean you have Gulf of Mexico. It could happen in it could be the ocean, depending on where you are in the world. But you have either an ocean or a gulf like this, and then you have water on the back side of it. And so this is the barrier island, and then this is like the intercoastal waterway. And you get that down in like South Padre Island is another example, and then all over Florida you have barrier islands. So anyway, Galveston, the main swimming areas are here on the island. Either like Stewart Beach and East Beach are over here, and then you have all the beaches along the seawall. And in general, you're going to have lifeguards in those areas. You're going to have flags that are hoisted to let you know about swimming conditions. Like a green flag is all clear. A yellow flag is a caution, meaning that you need to be, maybe a little bit extra careful. And a red flag means unsafe swimming conditions. The problem, though, is that regardless of what you're maybe seeing on the center portion of the island, on both sides of Galveston Island, you get very strong currents, like what you would call an eddy current. So this is called Bolivar Pass, and most people don't swim over here because there isn't really a beach. There's a ferry that goes back and forth, and there is an East Beach, but it doesn't go all the way over here to the tip. Over here, that's called San Luis Pass, and let me just advance to it here and show you closer. So you have San Luis Pass Road, and there's a bridge, and then you have this Blue Water Highway. So there is beach area here, and where people will go and spend the day. It's a big fishing spot, boating and things like that. The major problem is, if you go to Google, type in San Luis Pass drowning, you're going to see 100 articles at least going, back a couple of decades of people drowning at this exact spot. Now, I have never swam there, but from what I understand, there's a sandbar, and a lot of people will stand and like fish out on the sandbar, but the bottom of the Gulf there is uneven. And so you might be standing on a sandbar, and then if a wave comes along or you lose your balance, whatever, you're off the sandbar, and now you're in, water up to here. Anybody who's not a strong swimmer, and gosh, especially children, you can get pulled out by this current. So the current goes in and the current goes out, and depending on the tide and so forth, you get the water kind of sloshing in and out of this back bay area. And the bottom line is, people die every single year down here at San Luis Pass. And it's not closed. To me, it's a public safety issue right now, but I know at the same time, thousands of people go down there and fish and have a great time and do it without anybody getting hurt. But what happened this past weekend is that a family was down there. There was a small child, a 3-year-old, who, and I don't know the circumstances. I've even tried. We don't know the circumstances yet because this just happened. But 3-year-old somehow ended up in the water. The dad, as any father would do, right, went into the water to try and save the 3-year-old, and he ended up, well, he's missing. Okay, he's missing at this point. The 3-year-old was picked up floating on a floaty kind of thing, and somehow washed up, and they got him, but the father is missing now. And so, it's very, very sad. And when I was in my youth, I used to be a lifeguard, and supervising kids is at vital importance. And we've seen this. Now, this is not to assign blame to anybody. It's an unbelievable tragedy. But I'm just saying, in general, you have to have somebody who's assigned to watch children. It happens, we've seen it so many times in Houston at apartment pools, right? It happens a lot. If people are having kind of a party at the pool, something like that, and it's unbelievable to imagine you've got 20 adults there, 25 adults there, and a 3-year-old drowns. And you say, well, how in the world did that happen? Well, nobody was assigned to watch the child or the children. And so everybody, probably each individual assumes that somebody else is watching the child. And it's an extremely sad thing to hear about because it's 100% preventable. Now, again, the incident that happened this past weekend, I do not know all the details about what happened this past weekend at San Luis Pass. All I know is that the 3-year-old is okay and the father's missing. And I also know that this has happened time and time and time and time again. There have been drownings there earlier this year. And I found an article going all the way back to 2017, where even 5 years ago, people were saying there have been so many drownings at San Luis Pass. Should we close it? Should we ban getting in the water? I mean, all these things. Because a lot of people just don't realize how strong these currents are. And so the bottom line is, if you are swimming, in a swimming pool, you have to make sure that an adult is assigned specifically. Hey, you, Bob, it's your job to watch the kids. And then maybe when Bob gets tired, you hand the decision to somebody else, or the responsibility to somebody else. But somebody has to watch the children always. And it's even more so when you're at the beach, where there could be actually currents that pull kids out. And we can't let this happen anymore. It's such a sad story, and it has happened. Like I said, please go to Google, type in San Luis. It's Luis. San Luis Pass, drowning. You're going to see so many articles, you're going to wonder how in the world this is still happening. But it is. So again, to summarize, because I get so upset about these kind of things. You have to watch kids at the pool. If you're going to the beach, swim near lifeguards. Don't get in the water if you're not familiar with the area, or if there's, if you're in an area that's not like a designated swimming area. And if you are driving in a car at night in heavy rain, okay, you have to drive so slow and so cautiously, and be aware that around here in Texas especially, the rain comes down so hard and so fast, especially in urban areas, that you can get 6-foot deep water and you have no idea until it's up to the roof of your car. So we don't want to see any more of this happening. And I wanted to make sure I talked about it because we could have some heavy rain here in Houston in the days to come. So anyway, sorry to be a downer, but that's sort of like what's going on here this morning. So other than that, I hope you had a great weekend. I know the kids are back at school. All of mine are back in school now, and they're, still getting adjusted to waking up early and all of that good stuff. And so that's one good thing. And hopefully you all, maybe somebody had a chance, I didn't go, to go see that stadium tour of Poison, Motley Crue, and Def Leppard, and I heard firsthand from my buddy James that Motley Crue was not terrific. You know, they've been going viral lately for not being very terrific, but you know what? It's just all about the experience. I've seen Motley Crue before. I've seen Poison 3 times. I've never seen Def Leppard, but yeah, it's great. I mean, it's great that some young people are into this stuff now too, which is pretty awesome. So I'll leave you with that. So I will see you next week. In the meantime, please be safe on the roadways this week. It does look like a lot of rain is headed our way. Take care.